All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm fantastic. I'm having a great morning.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Mike, of course, I want to say thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Mhm.
And obviously, I know we haven't known each other very, very long, but you showed up in an email that a group that we're part of called By Referral Only. And I noticed that you're an EXP agent. And I thought, you know what? I would love for my tribe, my community, and those people that I love and care about to learn a little bit more about how you do business because it reminds me a lot of how I do my best to do relationship based marketing because I really believe that relationships are so important and especially in real estate. So share with me a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Yeah, sure. So I've been an actual agent since 2016. But I've been pretty much in real estate since 2013. I started originally flipping homes, and I wanted to be, it was a great opportunity. I wanted to help the community and make money at the same time. I thought it was a win-win. But flipping is much different than they talk about on any of the shows. So
Oh yeah.
I had some great times, but there was also some not so great times, and it wasn't really what I wanted to be doing for the community. It became more like an adult daycare center for contractors than like the reach that I wanted to make in uh, real or into the community. So I got my license, and it was the best decision I ever made, and I've been doing it
Nice.
ever since. And I live in a, I live in I actually I live in Graysonville, Maryland. So an Annapolis, Maryland area, if anybody knows.
Cool. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's such a small world. Like obviously I shared with you that I grew up in Maryland, but it's so awesome. Like one of the things that I love about real estate is that it's such a like yes, it's localized, right? And when people think of real estate, they think of I think communities or neighborhoods, even cities, but here's a perfect example of how it's so much more widespread than that, right? Like
Yeah.
you're in another state, but obviously being that I grew up there, I was interested in, oh, like Mike's from Maryland, let's talk, or at least lives there. So how would you say the market is now? How do you feel it's with everything going on in our world? Would you say it's picking up or
So I
what's
would
the
say that
narrative?
it really depends on where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is all about that. There's, I mean, where I directly live, it's two county area I really focus on, which is Queen Anne's County and Anne Arundel County. Anne Arundel County, in certain areas, it moves very fast because that's where more people live. In Queen Anne's County, the speed that it travels is fast for that area. But then if I go to certain spots in, Baltimore City, it's pretty stagnant, and that has a lot to do with lots of things that are going on in the world, from the riots. Any of those kind of things can really impact the climate of real estate. But I think that generally speaking, from my research, like even out of the last six recessions, four of them had a positive impact on real estate,
Mm-hmm.
like positive growth. And so far, from what my experience is, that's still happening. Lots of multiple bid type offer, or like offers that people are making in. I was just in a contract where I had six other contracts. We just won that contract yesterday. But
Wow. Congrats.
even when people are losing their jobs,
Yeah.
uh, there's still an entire pocket of people that haven't, and those people are still interested. So I see positive everything real estate right now.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about that is you're absolutely right. Like when people ask how's the market, right? Like it is dependent on where you are and what city and what state
Yeah.
and it is like everything, and that's why I love, that we're talking today because on Wednesdays I have a theme
Oh yeah.
that I kind of live by and I share that with my community just to keep it fun and light. And also Wednesdays I like to call Winning Wednesday. And the reason is because there's so much negativity and there's so much that we can be focused on that's not working. So I feel like if we can consciously and with intention, at least one day a week, we can put our mind and our efforts towards having a goal of focusing on the good stuff, right? On the positive, why not? So like I love what you just shared because it's very much in line with the thought of depends how you look at it. If you're looking at it as unemployment's high, then yeah, that's what you're going to see. But then there's a whole nother millions of people that are doing great and they're thriving. So that's another reason why I like the way that you're doing business, because you do a lot of what I call relationship based sales,
So,
which is people first.
so I wanted to say, speak to what you were just saying. I kind of, I wrote everything down, but a couple of maxims I actually live by. Actually, three maxims. So your experience of life is not based on your life itself. It's based on what you pay attention to.
Mm,
That's one of the things that I live by. And what you focus on grows. Very similar to how if you go to the gym and you work out and you're focused on biceps and you do bicep curls for a few days, they're going to start to grow.
mm-hmm.
You take some protein shakes, they're going to grow even more. But what happens when you don't do that for 2 weeks? Your muscles atrophy and they break down and they no longer work. So I apply that to my life and what I focus for positivity, and the things that are negative die around me. There's nothing, no air left for them to breathe. You know what I mean? And the other thing I do is I work with the willing who are willing to work. So I put my energy into the people that want to have it instead of, trying to grab something from somebody that doesn't want to be doing that thing. So
Yeah, it's like pushing uphill. Like,
yeah, it's
that's
not
no
worth
fun.
it. Yeah, and it puts a lot of pressure on other people. So you work with people that are willing to work in any aspect, not just business and in life and anything. When you're hungry, what do you go do? You go grab food. You're thirsty. You get something to drink. That's how I live, and it makes it. There's a flow that goes on when you just let it be like that. And so just like you were saying about, there's so much negativity on the world. It's not to be in denial about the negativity. It's about finding the silver lining and focusing on that. That gives us energy. Focusing on the negative it just breaks us down. It actually increases cortisol levels in your body. Those are stress hormones. It's
Yeah.
not good for your body. It can increase blood pressure, heart rate, dis-ease. Those are all things that are not going to help you grow. So
Right.
you got to let them go and focus on what's going to give you life.
I do. Absolutely. And that's so true. And I don't know if those that are watching or maybe watching the replay later, they know that I teach yoga and I do a lot of energy work and kind of, I call it my woo woo side. And I love what you just said about flow.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, exactly. Woo woo. Because it is energy and it is flow. And when we're not living in the flow, what happens is we're actually creating friction. Like I believe that our true nature is to flow with life. And I love what you were saying about like the rhythms, like in yoga, there's a sister of yoga and it's called Ayurveda. And it's this whole other side of yoga, so to speak, that is all about the rhythms of life. And it's like seasons, we have winter, spring, fall, and summer. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have structure, right? I think it's really important to create routine and to create structure because it allows us to be disciplined in our ways of being. But having that flow and having that rhythm is so important. And I think even in real estate, it's important to have those rhythms and to go with the flow because real estate is cyclical. We all know that. Like it goes up, it goes down. And relationships are cyclical. Sometimes you're having like a really close, like I teach a lot about balance, right? And things are not always balanced. Like you might have a really good time at work, but at home things are a little wonky or the other way around. And
Yeah.
so by having that, giving ourselves, I think that permission to have the structure, but also have a fluid structure where we know that it can move and it's malleable, right? Like, I really feel that's important because things are not always going to be like we might have a plan, that's saying we make plans and God laughs.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's like Come on, like the reality is that things are not always going to go exactly as we planned. And thank goodness, like sometimes it's so much better than we ever imagined.
It's true. I had a teacher um, teach me this idea of what is called contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that term, contrast?
Mm-hmm.
Like contrast is like the things that we just do not desire, the things that we don't want to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything was good and then someone hit us from behind in a car or something, and we're like, my day couldn't get any worse, right? Again, that's what we pay attention to. But
Right.
contrast shows us both what we want and what we don't want at the exact same time. We usually focus on what we don't want, and we ask questions around what we don't want, and we get more answers about what we don't want. So it creates this snowball effect of negativity. But, it's just like in relationships. It's like if you had an abusive relationship, you could say, oh, this person abuses me. Or you could say, what is it that I'd rather have? What I really want is a kinder, gentler, more supportive, loving person in my life. So those negative experiences can show you exactly what you want, and then you focus on those things. That's like real-time wisdom that you can gain from every situation. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said. It's a life lesson, right? It's a life law. It's not just business.
Right.
So I think that's really relevant, and I think that that's something that we could all take away from today is how do we live in that mindset of contrast where we're focusing on what is working, and I think that's the magic, right, of the concept of contrast. It's all about being reminded of what we want, right? Like if I don't know what I don't want,
Yeah.
I'll never know what I want. And I know that
Yeah.
sounds kind of like confusing for some people, but let's say you like the color red
Yeah.
and something blue shows up and you're like, you wouldn't know that you don't want blue because you don't know any different. So I
Right.
think contrast is really important.
And that's where the gratitude can come from, because you can go, oh, well, I appreciate blue showing up because it really showed me that I want something different. Thank you, blue.
Thank you, Blue. Exactly.
Thank
Yeah. Who
you.
knew that we had so much in common? Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your family and kind of what do you do when you're not selling real estate? What are some of the activities that you like to enjoy?
So I have um, an Alaskan Malamute puppy.
Nice.
She's a big puppy. She's outside right now screaming. She's just
Oh, I
howling.
think I hear her whimpering.
You can hear it a little bit. I'm
Oh,
not going to grab her right now, but she's just got to do it. And then my daughter, she just turned 18 on last Friday.
no way. You look so
Yeah.
young. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So I got her when she's 11.
Ah, okay.
Found her in an alley. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. I didn't. It was my wife's daughter, and I don't call her my stepdaughter or anything. That's my girl. I love her with my whole heart. And so that's us. And then I have in my spare time, I love doing yoga. I do anything from Bikram yoga to vinyasa, to Barkin, if you've ever heard of Barkin yoga.
Yep, I have.
That's the predecessor to Bikram.
Yeah.
I like to cave. I like to hike. I spin poi, fire poi is.
Oh, cool. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've seen it too. Yeah.
recently I used to do it a lot when I was younger, but I just recently got back into cliff jumping. So
I've done that a few times.
Yeah. So I've been doing that.
Cool.
I like to read a lot. And recently, though, I journal a lot. I follow Miracle Morning. Do you know Miracle Morning?
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was in that community. I mean, I'm technically still in it. Yeah. I did it last year.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's really cool.
The last S on Savor Scribing, I've been doing a lot of journaling. And one of the things that I have been finding out is that you only have so much time, and like I'm kind of paring down my schedule for things that I do all the time, learning to fall in love with doing less. And being okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just, because I'm the kind of personality that I want to just do it all. Like I got very energetic and I just was like, yes, just crush all of it. And
it's the pitta.
Say it again.
It's the pitta in Ayurveda. Yeah. They call that the pitta.
Yeah. So I have a lot of interests. That's like saying you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. but no, like I have a lot of interests and I love life a lot. But lately I have been kind of paring that down and focusing on what really matters to me.
That's
And
awesome.
so, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Who knew? Who knew when I asked, let's connect, that we would share all that yoga stuff
Yeah.
and those that know me know that I lived in Montana for a couple years, and I actually intend on going back. I'm working on a retreat actually for this summer, so hopefully in August I'll get to do that. And yeah, I mean, life, I think, is all about balance. It can't be work all the time. Like, it needs to be, we need to remind ourselves the importance of winding down and spending time with family and with friends and loving our life. Like you said, really loving our life, where we get out of bed, jumping and so
Yeah.
excited to live.
Yeah. And, I feel like, when we're on Facebook and stuff, it's all about like, this is the best life, but we're all going through issues.
Oh
We just
yeah.
gotta roll with the punches sometimes, and we gotta look for the goodness of life. That's one of my core values, actually, imbue it all with goodness.
I love
Um,
that.
and just find how to, I play this game called Lombardi Time with this kid that I mentor in real estate. And because one of my one of the things that is important to me is about being early is on time. On time is late. And
Mm-hmm.
so instead of like worrying about, oh, am I going to be on time or not, or early, like we play Lombardi Time, and it's like, who is going to be the earliest? And
Oh boy.
Lombardi said that whole thing, if you're early, you're on time, you're on time, you're late. So if you're 15 minutes early or more, it's like, yes, we get to celebrate every single time. And so he'll call me sometimes. He goes, Mike, I'm 30 minutes early. I'm like, wow, man, you crushed it. He goes, I got 6 emails done. He goes, I think I'm even going to take a nap because I'm so early. And I'm like, you
Oh
do it,
wow.
bro. You got it. You can do whatever you want. Like you're respecting the client, you're respecting yourself. Like it's awesome. Now he's in this mindset of like, I'm going to crush him at Lombardi Time. So it's no longer a matter of like, he loves it so much. He doesn't have to, he plans ahead, and it's a better habit for him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And I actually think that's a really good strategy, because I used to have commitment stuff. Like, even teaching class was an issue. Like, part of the reason I didn't want to be a yoga teacher was because I was afraid of committing to teaching. And it's so cool because now I teach every day, and I do the yoga online every day at 8:15. Thank you, quarantine. And it's changed my whole life. Like, I'm working on a lot of new things because of it. And it's so cool because now of course, I brought that into business, and I have noticed, like, even on my phone calls, like, today, I mean, obviously you beat me to the punch. You were in like 15 minutes early. And I think it's wonderful because it's very respectful when we can honor people's time. And if you are late, right, if somebody's watching this, like, start where you are. Like, if you're
Yeah.
used to being late, start working on getting on time, right? And commit to, like Mike said, making early being on time by setting your alarm and saying, I have an appointment. If it's really 10 o'clock, say to yourself, my appointment's at 9:55.
Yeah, and if they can imbue it with something fun or
Yeah.
exciting, it'll be even better because you'll reinforce that, because we love to do the fun things in our life. It's easy for us. Like if we had a trip tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
at 9 o'clock to go to the airport because we were going to go to the Bahamas or Hawaii or something, we'd be all packed and ready to go. We probably wouldn't even be able to sleep at night. We'd be up so that we could
That's
be on
true.
you know what I mean? Like you just got to find what it is. So don't beat yourself up for being late. Just find another perspective to look at it. And
Yeah.
the more fun it is, the more you'll ingrain that neural pathway in your brain, the easier it'll just become like you've always done it. So, you know, you got to
Good
give
wise
yourself grace.
words.
You got to give yourself grace to grow. You know what I mean?
Yes. Grace to grow. I love that. And it's funny because I've said that a little bit differently, but yeah, give yourself grace. Absolutely. I love the way you said that. Give yourself grace to grow, because nobody's perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. No matter how pretty it looks online, that's curated,
Yep,
right? And
exactly.
sometimes things look different, right? But that's the beauty of, I think, transparency and working in relationship based approaches, right? Is like I like being able for my clients now to know, this is my world, this is my life, to the point where it's like we're having conversation about yoga, and it started off as real estate, but now it's like blended out into yoga, into life, into cliff jumping, like being a well-rounded human is really what life is about. It's not just business. It's not just personal. It's all of it. Right. And so I think you've clearly done a great job of doing that. And I know that your clients, I feel, would be really lucky to have the opportunity to work with you. And now I have a partner I can refer to in the area. So I'm super happy about that.
So I just kind of want to talk to you about something I do, because, like we were talking about relationship type businesses. And you talked about how, the online is curated, and that's very true. So I have these 5 pillars that I ground every relationship that I have in. And again, it wasn't, you just kind of, you start somewhere, and that's how you do every relationship. And I start every relationship that I see is a potential for growth, or a client. It doesn't matter what it is they're grounded. I will literally come out and say, look, I just want to let you know, moving forward, I can see our relationship growing, but I want it to start off really strong, and I want it to continue. And I just kind of want to set some expectations for us here. I would love what I want for us to have is a relationship that is grounded in compassion, love, kindness, patience, and presence. And that's like my five thing. And having the courage to be self-expressed and to initiate and create some dialogue around what is important to you or what is bothering you. And just having the courage to be vulnerable, because the thing is that our clients, it doesn't matter if they're clients or if they're just people. Everybody has issues, and it's part of us staying strong is like not complaining about, or no, I'm strong, I'm going to get through this. But part of the healing process is in being able to have the courage to be vulnerable, to talk about your issues. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening right now and you're a person that is having trouble talking to people or like building strong relationships, ask yourself if you're having compassion, kindness, love, patience, and presence with your own self. Can you be vulnerable with yourself to actually talk about the real issues that are going on in your life, and just being raw about them, and just accepting that, they might be they might be dirty and ugly, and and just getting those out, because that release, now you can fill yourself back up with love. You know what I mean? Because you're able to talk about it. And so that's what I do in all of my relationships. And then not only do I say it, I align my actions. That's what the most important thing is to do, is that you say something and then you do something. But what it comes down to is you just got to remember, you can be a smooth talker, you can be very charismatic. I have that, people tell me all the time, Mike, you're very charismatic. But when people tell you that, you have a really important responsibility. And that is to show people with your actions. Because if you say that you're early, right? If you say that you're early and that you're going to be places on time and all of that, but you show up late all the time, what you're really showing is that you're late all the time. And there's a disconnect between what you say you are and what you are. And people are only going to follow what you are. That is the most, you might get them a couple of times, you might get them with your words a couple of times, but really they might not be able to pinpoint it. But now there's a level of trust that is broken, and it messes your integrity up. So whatever promises that you make, do them, and do them when you say you're going to do them. The more responsive you are about doing them, the more trust that you build between that other person, because now you've shown them that they can depend on you. They can count on you to deliver whatever you're going to deliver. And that's like half the battle. Like, they just want people they can count on in their life. We're all broken in some way. We've all been disappointed. Yeah. People haven't shown up to appointments. People haven't, paid us the money that we deserve. There's all kinds of things that we've gone through that is like, whoa, I can't even believe people would act like that. And on the same thing, we've done those kind of things to other people. Mm-hmm. We have to admit, right? We have to admit, wow, I've been this person. But guess what? I can choose to not be that person again. It's a choice. Once you're conscious that you've done it, now you have a choice. Now you can make choices. If you're not conscious to it, then you're just kind of, like, you have no control. But when you go, oh, wow, I'm being that person right now. Now you can go, okay, well, now I get to choose. You get to choose to be a different thing if you would like to. And that's how I treat every person in my life. So when I call somebody, I'm genuinely interested in what's going on in their life. There's no ulterior motive to say, who do you know? Who do you know that's into real estate? That's so inauthentic.
Yeah, you care about people.
Yeah, and I have a policy in my relationship, or like any phone calls that I make to people. I do it usually an hour a day. I will call people. I call it my daily essentials. But my most important thing is that I'm building relationships with people from a heart-centered place. They're heartfelt conversations. Mm-hmm. And when I call them, my policy is to talk to them about what's going on in their life. And if you're having trouble coming up with what to talk about, but you really want to make connections with those people in an authentic way, there's a concept called Ford, which is, you talk about their family, the occupation, what is it? Recreation and dreams. And I mean, that's just kind of like a template so you can get better at conversations, but those are usually what you talk about. But I most 100% do not bring up real estate. I will not bring it up no matter what, unless they ask me and are interested in about what's going on in my life. And that's the only time I bring it up. And that way I can be authentic to them, because I called them to talk about them through acknowledging them, complimenting them, just listening to them. I had somebody call me the other day, and they got a card in the mail from me. It was I did this cute coronavirus card with Ron Burgundy on it that said something like, we'll have to change the 5-second rule to 3 because of 3 seconds because of the complications going on in the world or something. It was cute. It was good to laugh. But she literally called me, but because she could trust me and she could be vulnerable, she knew she could depend on me and count on me and not judge her to be vulnerable. She just broke down in tears and started talking to me about that her husband had passed on Easter from coronavirus. It was really like this.
Oh, right. I heard that in your message.
Yeah, it was so heart-wrenching to hear. Mm-hmm. And I didn't need to be Mr. Fix-It, like guys tend to be the Mr. Fix-It type. What can I do? That's more like the masculine, I guess, way, whatever. But like like sometimes the feminine way of being, and she just wanted to be heard. She wanted to be acknowledged. She wanted to be kind of supported from the phone, and just to be able to express it, because she couldn't tell a lot of people. And that brought me so much closer to her. And what's interesting, I got 2, and it wasn't even meant for this to happen, but I got 2 referrals from her days later, because she just knows I'm somebody that's going to take care of the people in my life. And it's not all about being the top agent, or I closed every deal in 6 hours. It's not about that. Those are things that we care about. Those are not necessarily things that they care about. And we got to remember that. Like, I see lots of agents all the time. Like, I had second in gross commission sales, and they're posting that on Facebook for people to be impressed by that. They typically don't care, but when they're talking about their dogs being lost, and then you reach out to 6 people to try to help them figure out where their dogs are, they cared about that. And they go, what kind of person would do this? If they could do this, I wonder what they're going to do in real estate for me, because they went out of their way to do something for me when they didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's thinking about people first. Absolutely.
Thinking about people first. That is, and really, conversations matter, guys. Real conversation. The weather, the sports, that's all small talk. That's okay. That starts conversations, and it doesn't always have to be super deep, but it's about listening. Deep, patient, present listening.
Yeah. Well, this was so good, Mike. I really appreciate your time today. And I'm so glad you gave some really cool nuggets. Ford is definitely something that I do my best to use, and it's a great reminder to use it. And I love what you shared about just being authentic and being vulnerable. Like, vulnerability is the key. And I think that's something we all get to do more of. And the more we do it, the stronger our relationships become, because then we have that relatability, right? And that's really what life is about, is having people we can depend on, like you said, and vice versa, knowing that we have each other. So
Can I just end on a challenge for people?
Yeah.
All right, so guys, just test this out for 30 days. Just try this. And if you have Facebook, it's a great place to do it. So basically, like 5 posts authentically, comment on 5 people's posts authentically, and do it by asking, saying how you feel and asking a question. Message 5 people in the chat box authentically, all authentically, and comment on 5 story posts that people have, and do that every day for 30 days, and track your results. It'll be
It'll change your life.
I'm willing to bet you'll be astonished by what comes out of that.
It's funny that you brought that up. I'm putting it in the notes here, and then we'll wrap up, just so that we can honor everybody's time. But I wanted to I wanted to share that I actually, hey, Roberto, good to see you, or see your comments. Authenticity. Roberto's actually, he's awesome. He's a guy that really knows that word. He shows up fully, and I love that about him. And message on stories. 5 stories. And this is a practice that I'm doing for a while. And really, even, I don't know if it's been the last 30 days or not, but it's been for at least maybe since the quarantine. I think the last like 3 months, I've really been like taking it up a notch myself. And I've really been focused on taking my time and really getting to know people. And obviously, I'm like everybody, I have enough time in the day, but I do my best. And if I mess up, which I do because I'm human, I apologize. And I do my best to clear it up with people. And that's, that'll be a whole different show. But I just wanted to thank everybody. And I love the points you gave. Thank you so much, Mike. They were so
Absolutely.
valuable. And yeah, super, super cool gems you shared today. And, I love the way you're doing business. And I'm so happy that I got to meet you, quote unquote. And I look forward to sharing opportunities to not just work together, but to serve each other and support each other in our lives, right? Through, like you said, whether it's, just seeing that, your daughter graduates or does something cool, has a project at class. Like, I'm excited to now get to know you and your family. And, I love seeing pictures of family and being able to get to know my community and local as well as global. So happy to be in your circle and vice versa.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Yeah. And Michelle says authenticity all the way. Michelle is actually one of our EXP partners. She's awesome. She's up in New York. Hello, sister. And then Roberto, he's here in South Florida. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mike, for your time this morning. And everyone have a beautiful, awesome day. We'll see you soon.
See ya.